Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That, of course, is Dinger Dan Harris, and it's you. And we're talking all things baseball this morning. And my goodness, what an eventful weekend it was. Good, bad, ugly. We're at the All-Star break. We finally got there. We made it. And I even see here in mid-July people joining us for the first time. Carlos, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. And Dinger Dan, we lost one of the bright shining stars in baseball for the rest of the season, which is a huge bummer. But as Met fans, yesterday we had a little bit of good news there because somehow the consensus number one overall pick going into last year's draft, who didn't go in the draft, somehow dropped a 10 to us. It's a good morning as far as I'm concerned.
You haven't lived until you've been on a text string with Mike Mayer and Brendan Tuma during the MLB draft, okay? Because it's just entertainment galore. Yeah, I just kept being like, is he going to fall? Is Rocker going to fall? It's great. Very exciting. Of course, the draft is a crapshoot. I mean, you never know with these guys. I'll wait a year. A Rocker will be up probably sooner than most, but we'll wait. But either way, the Acuña news just completely overshadows everything. It just sucks, man. It sucks. It sucks.
It does, and I'm a Ron Acuña owner in my Dynasty Home League, and it sucks.
And you know what? I mean, the big thing is, Joe, based on everything that I see, and based on just the normal timeline that you see for these types of injuries, I don't know if he's going to be ready to start next year, right? Like, he not too far off, but he may not be ready right out of the gate. So even slightly with Dynasty, it kind of messes with it.
With modern medicine and these athletes and the way they go about things, and what we've seen the running backs do in the last few years. And I think it's going to be pushing the envelope of April next year. We'll get into that in a second and a whole lot more. We're going to talk about the home run derby today too. Yep. That's going on. That is going to be good times, big fun. And I haven't had a chance to do my own draft recap yet. I'm going to try to do that in the next 24 hours and bring it here to the show for everybody. So hopefully either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how things work out. There's Shark Week. And there's also Camp Week. This is Camp Week, where things are a little wild here. Dan knows. He lives the camp lifestyle. For those of you out there, those grown-ups who have kids in the camp lifestyle, it really just throws a wrench into your whole summer. But I'm going to get in there and get to it. My big takeaway, too, is I still think it's hilarious that, number one, that you still get high school pitchers going as high as you do. That just still blows my mind when you look at the data that's given to you, Dan, in the Major League Baseball draft, that high school pitchers make it far less to the big leagues than college age pitchers, and yet they still go in the top 10, and it still just boggles the mind. It's an incredible thing. But let's talk about the ups. Gerrit Cole bounced back, so maybe, just maybe, he was just tired of everything, or maybe just needed to go back to Houston and get some of that sticky icky. Maybe they left some on the mound there for him. But regardless, Saturday, complete game shutout, 12 Ks. This was a huge performance for Cole. All the haters gonna hate. And speaking of the other side of that game, Jose Altuve walking off, giving me a dinger after a very quiet couple days before that offensively. Miami Marlins Pablo Lopez strikes out the first 9 Braves he faces, and that sets a major league record and ties it. So I guess when it comes to the ups here, Dan, before we even get to the downs of the Acuña, what do you make out of this Gerrit Cole start? Because when the Yankees come out of the break, they've got the Boston Red Sox lined up there at home. I feel like this is the momentum you kind of need. The pitching was better this week against Seattle. Gerrit Cole throwing a gem. Are the Yankees starting to pick things up here at the 11th hour?
I mean, I feel like I might have had a different feeling on the Yankees team as a whole had they not suffered that absolutely excruciating loss yesterday with the Altuve walk-off and Chad Green blowing it. You can't not watch that Gerrit Cole start and feel encouraged. There's a garage door, by the way, in case you can hear it. Don't worry. We've got him on soon. By the way, this is just to be clear for the MLB. This was a running gag on the NFL show, which is my wife. My office is above my garage door. My wife always knows when I'm podcasting, so she always finds a way to come in. Anyway,
she runs
sorry
out
about
of the house as soon as you start talking.
Very true. Usually it's the dog walk. Right now, it's returning from dropping the kids at camp. There you go. Anyway, with Gerrit Cole, you can't not be encouraged. Yeah, just listen to it. It's fine. We're going to keep arguing.
I'm sorry, because there was a delay and then you started talking again. And as soon as you started talking,
she knows it. I'm sorry.
I'm waiting for you, Dan. Dan, you going to talk again? You're done? Okay, good. There you are. Boom, there it is.
Joe's got the lawn, guys. I've got the garage door.
Okay. Got their
Anywho, look, Gerrit Cole was dominant. And of course, it wasn't just how good he was. What did he throw? 129 pitches. He was not coming out of that game. You saw Boone come out. He basically told him to,
you sit down.
Stick it where the sun don't shine. Yeah. But he was absolutely ridiculous. Now, I do not think, to the extent somebody's like, oh, this is awesome, Gerrit Cole's completely back, like this is pre-sticky stuff situation, Gerrit Cole. No, I think what you've got with this stuff is some of it is mental, Joe, as you and I have talked about, where I think once they kind of get past the hurdles of not having this stuff, they're going to pitch a little better. But also, we had seen Cole, not to this extent, but we'd seen Cole in his career have months where he has over a 4 ERA, and even after he started the sticky stuff. So I think you're going to get some occasional really, really good starts with Cole, but I'm still keeping him basically where it is, top 5 starter rest of season, but I'm not putting him, near DeGrom where he was before this.
All right, let's get to the downs. We had a Phillies COVID outbreak, so that's still a thing. Yu Darvish going to the IL officially, so Padres fans holding their breath. And then Ronald Acuña, obviously the torn ACL being out there. And, this is a huge deal, too, in terms of affecting not only the Braves stock, but, from a wagering standpoint, you're losing the Acuña MVP shares. That's done. Yep. If you had investments in the Braves, that's probably done, too. No Ozuna, no Acuña. Yanoa broke his hand. Soroka's out for the year. The Braves have really taken a huge hit here, and losing Acuña is huge. And from a fantasy perspective, obviously, this is crushing. This is a 1-1 player, and when you think about it now, it feels like you're starting to relive the football season of last year where the first round guys are starting to really bother you. Yeah. Where you're losing all these guys to injury, and now we've had Trout missing time. We've had Mookie Betts underwhelming for the most part this year. We've had Acuña now out for the year, Soto with the slow start. But just for perspective here on Acuña, 100 home runs and 75 stolen bases before turning the age of 24. Here's the company: Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Mike Trout, Andruw Jones. That's some pretty good company there, Dan.
Yeah, he's an elite baseball player. I'm going to task Mayor or Tuma with this. I want to know whether or not there's what the data is on his, the players who tear their ACL, especially at a young age, their stolen base proclivity after that, because that is something. Thank you. Well, I honestly, this is something that you will learn, not you, but our listeners, that if you use words that most people would not understand, then you sound way smarter than you are, even if that word means absolutely nothing. That's kind of how I built my entire career.
Either it means nothing or not what you think it means.
Completely misplaced. Right. But regardless, the bottom line is what I'd like to do is, have some data, especially on younger players like this, because Joe, if you took out the stolen bases, okay, and you were just basing it on hitting, would you think Vladdy or Acuña, pure hitter, no stolen bases? Vladdy, right?
See how I no hesitation. The other thing, too, is I think without the stolen bases, Eloy Jimenez is much closer to the dynasty value of Ronald Acuña than you might think. And you're going to take name out there because this was a guy 2 years ago who came up and had a glorious rookie season. It does strike out a little bit, but so does Acuña. And again, not a stolen base guy. So that's the difference with those two players. But I think all of a sudden, if you take Acuña out of the stolen, again, you're not taking him from 30 to 0 necessarily, but if you're taking him down lower, it does start to, ring true, especially in points leagues where you're not getting those extra bonuses. One thing in Roto where you still want the 10 to 15 steals maybe, or the 20.
Sure.
But when you're just talking about points and points being points, I don't know, man. I think he's a lot closer to that other group there, which is, not, it's tough. It's tough. And to be a Braves fan this weekend was very tough too. That is a crushing blow. We're going to get to the home run derby stuff, but first I want to go ahead and go through some of the other matchups yesterday and over the weekend that were very good. Hey, guess what? Our good friend Robbie Ray, friend of the show, 7 shutout innings, 11 Ks against the Rays. He does not quit. Charlie Morton, 7 Ks against the Marlins and 7 shutout innings. Germán Marquez also did the same, 9 Ks against the Pods. Wade Miley, 8 shutout innings from him. And Kenta Maeda, your boy, coming back again, 5 shutout innings, 7 Ks against the Tigers. I'm telling you right now, the next time Kenta Maeda's on the mound, he's going to be in our lineups for DFS. I'm telling you, we're going to be starting him. Brandon Woodruff, 4 Ks, 6 innings, 1 run, bounce back against the Reds. Luis Castillo, still another strong outing for him. That ERA keeps, that's good. It's a good, hey, 1
he
run,
walked
5
6.
and a third.
No, it's good. He walked 6. That's
did.
my only worry with him.
But you know what? If you walk 6 and still give up only 1 run, that's a win.
Yeah.
That is a win.
It's a positive.
That's what we want here. What do you make out of Tristan McKenzie's 7 shutout innings and the 9 Ks? I know the Royals have been bad, but I feel like everybody's jumping back in on the McKenzie bandwagon. Your thoughts on him? I feel like he's still limited too much for me this year.
I am generally in favor of anybody who is 6'5" and 165 pounds. Okay, that's the type of guy I like.
That's the Dan Harris mold.
That's my guy. Yeah,
that's what they call him. They call him a Harris.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
the body type in the scouting world. Yeah.
Look, I think a guy like McKenzie is somebody who we look for a reason to be optimistic about, right? Like that's sort of the guy because throws hard, a lot of talent, something that we saw that last year that we were kind of like, oh, this is intriguing, but then was overvalued in drafts this whole year. Now, I'm not ready to sort of make any conclusions based on one start, but the big thing with him was his control. He had it under, quote, control in this start. So I think in 15-team leagues, he's got to be added immediately. If you have a roster spot in a 12-team league and you need help in pitching, I would add him because I want to see where it goes. I'm not starting him yet, but he's going to get a run, I'm sure, with Cleveland as they continue, Joe, we've talked about it, to fall out of this race. They're not going to hang in there, even with Plesac back, even with Savali come back. I'm sure they're going to fall out. And once they do, there's no reason to keep McKenzie in the minors. They're going to see, obviously, what he can do in this rotation rest of the season. So he's a pretty much immediate add in any remotely deep league, but I'd keep him on my bench to see what we can. I am intrigued, though, I admit.
Going back to Maeda, I had a conversation on the TV yesterday. We were talking about the Dodgers and maybe they should look to acquire another pitcher. And I thought the perfect guy would be Kenta Maeda, right?
Yeah, right.
Veteran guy, bring him in there. I mean, he slides right back in there. I don't know. Keep your eye out for that because I don't think the Dodgers have a lot left in the tank to do much. But I don't know how much I want to rely on Tony Gonsolin and rely on David Price and those guys. Bringing in somebody like Kenta Maeda might be exactly what the doctor ordered for them in the next 2 months.
The one thing I'll say, by the way, about Maeda, which we should at least mention, he only went 5 innings in that start. He was great. He only went 5 innings in that start, 84 pitches, I believe. I think he basically was like, I'm just really fatigued. So I wanted to come out, essentially, which is a little weird because he was off for a while. Like, he was on the IL. I don't know what the fatigue is necessarily. I'm writing it off to being nothing. I think Barrios, Joe, and I don't know if you can get Barrios. He's really perfect for the Dodgers because they need innings. Like, give me innings. I just don't think
they have it in the tank to get him.
I think you're correct. I think that, and I think the Twins, by the way, it's going to be interesting because they're going to have to be sellers because they just can't not be sellers essentially after this. But at the same time, I don't know if it's like, let's sell off every single piece that we have and completely rebuild entirely because I still have a lot of young kids in there, Kirilloff, of course, and stuff like that. So we'll see. But either way, Maeda is a good.
Get it done for Barrios.
Yeah, that's true. But
I mean, CJ Abrams is hurt right now, but the Padres have enough in that system to get that done. You put a CJ Abrams and a Paddock in a deal like that for Barrios. The 2 winners from this weekend are the Padres and the Mets because I think with the Dodger Kershaw injury, with the Bauer stuff going on, with Cody Bellinger struggling mightily, with the Acuña injury. And to a certain extent, too, even Milwaukee, you're just kind of looking at that. The Central's kind of, it's Milwaukee and everybody else, it feels like right now. You still have to wonder about those Milwaukee guys you get into the innings thresholds. That is something that's very interesting. And I know we got Mayer popping up there with some stats. So
the guy is
Mike Mayer is a machine. The M in Mayer stands for machine. The overall rate of return of play among MLB position players after ACLR tears was 88%. Yep. Yeah. And, although there was 21.2% decline in the number of games played, I'm sorry. What's that word?
Post-operatively,
okay.
Joes. Come on, Joe.
I thought there was a
if not, just make up a word, and people will think that you're
I was going to say postoperatively, and I was
but
like,
So side of injury had no effect on
I had a stroke there in the middle
of
reading that, everybody. So don't worry about like everything's okay with your device, your mobile device. I just had a temporary lapse there. It was post-operative, but I just wasn't used to seeing that word, so I was like, I'm trying to read it small on the actual screen there. But
all I know is Mayer quoted a lot of stuff, and I don't know what it means. So Mayer, do something in Discord about Ronald Acuña and his ability to.
Side of injury has no effect on stolen bases or the number of times a player was caught.
That means nothing. I don't care if it's right or left. I just want to know whether or not ACL. Mayer, don't just quote. Okay, give a little of your own analysis. analysis there. And don't use the word post-operatively again. It makes Joe upset. So do something.
It's just, like I said, it's a word where you're about to say, and you're like, wait, and then I stopped, and then I realized I waited so long that it was dead air.
I always wonder about the people who listen to this on the podcast, which is the vast majority of our listeners, whether or not they're like, what is going on during this show? What are they doing over there? Because, again, part of the fun is joining us live, obviously. But yes, Joe was reading comments from Mike Mayer in the live chat on our YouTube channel.
There's a lot going on.
It is a lot going on.
All Monday.
Right. It's fine.
Right.
And there's no baseball. There's no baseball.
There's plenty of baseball. What are you talking about?
I mean, there's no DFS tonight. That's what I meant. Sorry.
No, there's no DFS, but there's Derby tonight, and there's a lot. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that. Let's talk about the weekend hitter standouts. The double dongers. Olsen up to 23. Look at Albert Pujols.
That was my home run call, by the way. Don't forget about that one, my friend.
I have not forgotten. Well done, my friend.
It.
AJ Pollock, Dansby Swanson, Andrew Vaughn, Rodolfo Castro, Brandon Lowe, or Lau rather.
Wow, that's right. Always tough.
Jonathan VR. And then of course the weekend duds. Ross Stripling back down to earth. 3.2 innings, 4 runs. Ian Anderson 2.1 innings, 4 runs against the Marlins. Framber. This is like 2 in a row here where Framber, maybe it's a rough patch, a little dead arm.
Ever since that random guy criticized us about not having Framber high enough, where, by the way, we had him plenty high, Framber has sort of been like, I'll show you why I'm not that high. I mean, he's walked now at least 5 in 2 of his last 3 starts.
Yeah, I think he's just getting a little dead arm period, which is typical of a guy who, it's the thing that most guys experience in May.
Yeah.
When they're coming, you're like, why is this guy having a rough patch there? They were good in April. But because he's been behind, like now you're kind of getting that now.
Look, I get it. I've been experiencing a dead arm period for the last 13 years. So I get it. I get it.
Chad Green, 4 runs and a blown save against the Astros too. That was an epic.
Who's getting who's the Yankees closer, Joe? I mean, who's getting the next save?
Might have to come out of retirement. I don't know what's going on there, but it's a definite possibility. Zach Greinke left to start with shoulder soreness, so Acuña wasn't the only injury this weekend. Sal Perez with back tightness didn't play Sunday, but he's supposed to be in the Derby.
In the home run Derby, right? Yeah, so I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, Alec Boom. And Aaron Nola both hit the COVID list, as we said before, so hopefully they'll be okay. Yu Darvish on the IL with that hip. Odubel Herrera hit the IL with the ankle tendonitis. Yan Gomes, the oblique. Correa and Andujar, COVID. And then, of course, you have Blake Snell hitting the IL with gastroenteritis. So he was supposed to start on Friday. We were all into him. And then he was like, nah, I'm out, bro. And Yusei Kikuchi also placed on COVID. A lot of COVID stuff. This is the first time we've seen this much COVID stuff going around in a long time.
I do wonder. I mean, I do wonder, just to take it out of the baseball realm for a second, you've got this Delta variant, which is highly transmissible, a little bit more. Right. You have a lot of teams who have not reached the 75% threshold for vaccinations. And even so, I don't know how much the vaccinations, I know they prevent serious illness, but I think people obviously still get infected with the new variant in particular. So I'm wondering whether or not we're going to see more COVID cases go up right now. Now, Bohm actually did test positive for it. I don't know about Kikuchi or Correa. I don't think Correa did. I don't think Nola did. I think it's a close contact. So, look, it's something I think that we're going to have to realize that we probably are going to need to deal with this going forward. And that's especially true as we get later into the year where it starts to get a little colder and everything like that. So, bottom line is, I think this is now something that fantasy managers need to understand, that having multi-position eligibility ready to fill in at a moment's notice with this COVID stuff is probably going to take on a little more importance going forward than we were kind of giving it earlier this year.
All right, fair enough. We're going to take a break real quick just to recognize the sponsor of the show, and you know who it is. It's Manscaped. That's right. The Lawnmower 4.0, the greatest male grooming tool in the history of grooming tools, is out there for you. And you can have it if you go to manscaped.com, use that code leading off. That's right. And somebody asked me this weekend, are we going to do a compilation show of all of the Manscaped reads? And I can only assume the answer to that question is yes. Yes, of course we are, because they are epic and fantastic. Every single one of them is unique. They're like snowflakes, and this one's no different because every person's like a snowflake, and sometimes snowflakes are delicate. And you don't want something that's going to chafe you or cut you or injure you, where you're trying to escape your manhood. So if you want to escape your manhood and escape hair, go to manscaped.com, because the Lawnmower 4.0 has that advanced skin-safe technology, that 4K LED light, and the longest battery life in the history of battery lives ever. Forget your car, okay? In fact, if your car stops, you can use the Lawnmower 4.0 to jumpstart your vehicle. That is a fact. I'm not making that up. So there you go. Make sure you go use that code leading off at manscaped.com. Get your 20% off and free shipping. Your balls will thank you. Now, speaking of balls, Dan, this is why I get the big bucks for transitions like that. We're in Colorado for the home run derby. This is exciting stuff. Joey Likey. Joey won home runs. Let's go. So here's the FanDuel odds that I pulled up for the home run derby going into the weekend. We got Shohei Ohtani at the top at plus 260. Then you got Joey Gallo at 360. You got Matt Olson at plus 5. Pete Alonso plus 550. Sal Perez at plus 850. Juan Soto at 10-1. And then Story and Mancini and the rest. Now, for me, I always try to target the two things I like, right? What do I like and what do I know about the home run derby from all my many years of watching baseball? I believe it favors the guys who have good conditioning at this point. And it is a little bit exasperated because it's in Colorado, and you see how these guys struggle already, right? You see when they struggle in the home run derby, they need breaks and all this stuff. Sure. Now you're putting them into thin air. This is tough. Now, I'm not saying it's the hometown kid necessarily, but I've already made my wagers, and I found my two guys based on swing, based on the power they create themselves. You want natural power that they have loft on the ball, or incredible physical conditioning. Juan Soto at 10-1 is a wager I'm making. This guy hits laser beams everywhere, and he has the body of a professional wrestler. Like, the guy he is in great physical and cardio shape. Matt Olson's the other one for me. Matt Olson, for me, Dan, is the other wager that I've made on the home run derby. I think both of those guys have the best odds, best return on investment. The Ohtani story would be great. The Trey Mancini story would be a feel-good one. The Trevor Story, hometown boy, all that's great. But Dan, give me Juan Soto, Matt Olson tonight. That's where I'm putting my money on the derby. How about you, my friend?
Yeah, I don't hate either one of those. I'll probably have a little something on Ohtani just because I want to be rooting for Ohtani. But the other guy who I'm going to have a little something on is Alonso. He's obviously experienced in the derby. He's had success there. So look, he wants it too. That's also another part of it. I feel like sometimes these guys go into it and they're like, okay, let's just see what happens. It's fun, whatever. Alonso wants it. He wants to win this home run derby. And I mean, the conditioning, you bring up a good point. I mean, especially in Colorado where the air is thinner. But I do think, especially going out to left, I kind of just feel like Alonso, the
polar bear is for real, man. I love me the polar bear.
He just has so much fun with it. At plus 550, it's worth it. I put a little bit on it there. So nothing crazy. I like to just watch it and root for everybody, so I don't go crazy. But to the extent I am putting on somebody, Alonso is really my guy. I do like the Soto call, especially at the odds. I at plus 1,000 for sure, but I'm going with Alonso.
All right, and the way the rounds are set up, let's have some fun. So in round one, we've got the 1 seed Shohei Ohtani against Juan Soto. I'm going to pick Juan Soto to advance out of this. And it's going to bum everybody out, but it's Ohtani. And look, I would love Ohtani to win the Derby and then go win the MVP of the All-Star game by pitching and hitting and doing all these things. I think it would be great. I'm the biggest Shohei Ohtani mark in the world. But I'm going to go Soto round one of those two. Who are you going round one? Let's do some fun predictions.
I'm going to go with Ohtani. I'm going to go.
All right. Okay. Sal Perez, Pete Alonso. You're going to say Pete Alonso.
Alonso. Yes,
I'm going to agree, especially after this Perez back working out of him, that's not a good thing. So, all right. So Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, who advances to the final?
I'm going to go with Alonso.
All right. I'm going to go with Juan Soto there.
Yep.
First round on the other side, Joey Gallo against Trevor Story. Who you got?
I hate to be chalky, but I'm going to go with Gallo. I know Story's home, but I'll go with Gallo.
He's got a 1,500 OPS the last 2
weeks. He just has to touch it, and it's just going to go at that point. So I'll go with Alonso.
All right, Matt Olson versus Trey Mancini. I'm going with Olson there, obviously. And I'm going to go with Trevor Story. Upset. There's my upset special there on that one. The hometown boy feeling the juice. I like it in juice. Right. How about you, Olson or Trey Mancini?
I will go with Olson to beat Trey Mancini, and then I will go with Olson to beat Gallo and reach the finals. All right,
so you've got an Olson, Alonso final. I've got an Olson, Juan Soto final. Okay. And if that happens, Joey's going to be a happy boy watching that final. Let me tell you, there. You're going to be very excited about that. Now, everyone's asking, what do we do? No home run calls tonight. Nobody knows what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
Do we want to predict the winner of the home run derby as the home run call, or is that too much? Because a lot of people just get in there, right? I don't know.
I
think everybody should reset. Just take a day off.
We have to. People want a contest. That's fine. I think we should. I think we should have it separate and apart from the home run contest, though, because I think we should have it separate. But we should do something Let's think of it. We got a whole day. We got forever. We got like 10 hours, whatever. Let's think about it. We'll put it in Discord in the Home Run Calls channel. We'll all come up. Everybody throw around some ideas, but let's keep it separate from the home run contest. Let's do something special just for the home run derby contest.
All right, I'm fine with that. Maybe give everybody a souvenir cup. About a tall drink of water. Dan Harris. There you go. That's what you need there.
I like it.
Are you making any wagers? Just out of curiosity on the derby, because I've already done my thing.
Just Alonso. Mainly, I think Alonso's a decent bet at plus 550, but I also want to be heavily invested in watching him do it. Like that. That's really the only place I'm going. Other than that, it's just fun to watch, man. And by the way, I love baseball as much as anyone, as you know. So do you. But I am really excited to not have like a normal slate for a couple of days, right? Just like this is a good time to reset just for everything. This 3-day break is really nice to just kind of take a deep breath.
Yes, a deep breath is good. And also looking at the home run board, Wonky Penguin and D. Gordon Liddy up at the top of 15. Yep. Randy at 13, Dinger Dan at 13, me at 12, still with Dr. Glenn. This is more looking like the home run board I like, where we're towards the top again. This makes me happy. So again,
where's Mayor, by the way? Mayor, how many?
Does Mayor even make home run calls, bro?
He does, of course. Mayor,
do you even lift, bro? I don't even know. He was on the sheet. He's got 4. I don't know. Where is
goodness.
Just go with whatever Wonky. I mean,
by the way, Joe,
he has the ability to go with whatever Wonky Penguin does every single day, and yet still he goes on his own. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't get it. But here's the deal, by the way. I want to add a couple things. Number one with Mayor, Joe, he's at 8, he says. So he says. So he claims. Whatever.
Is that post-operatively?
So, yes, post-operatively, the left side of Mayor's home run calls is not significantly affected. Here's the deal. On Discord tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern, Joe and I are doing what's called Discord Stages, which is essentially a live podcast. Okay, we call you up on stage, you ask us, we can hear your voices. We'll do that for an hour leading up to the game. We'll have some fun. We'll talk about it. Again, fantasypros.com/chat. If you're not in there yet, it's really easy. Anybody who wants to talk will be able to talk. It'll be great. We all talk here. Let's talk in there. It'll be fantastic. Second, Joe, letting you know right now, this is brand new news for Joe. I cannot make the Friday podcast. There was a Friday that I was supposed to be gone, but are you good for a little Mayor replacement? Tuma already replaced once. Mayor's off.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Bring me the head of Mike Mayer.
Bring
him to me. If
Mike
that is
Mayer.
His real name, even.
Mike Mayer's gonna cut. All right, Mike Mayer will be guest hosting or whatever you want to call this.
Is he coming over to my house and we're just gonna do the show from there? Because
that's true. You guys are oddly close. Yes, you can do a live one right there. Mayor's gonna be on Friday. It works out perfectly. And then after that, we'll see Tuma and Mayer more, of course, as we go through the season. But Tuma's been on already. Let's get Mayer on. So Friday, don't forget, tune in.
All right. So Dan Harris checking out on me on Friday, which is fine.
Sure.
You're allowed.
Kids camp.
It's funny though. Like you know me, I'm team guy, friendly guy. When I found out Mayer was in Jersey, I was like, oh, where are you? He's only like 15 minutes. Like, hey, let's hang out. We'll go grab a beer one night, or go watch a Somerset Patriots game. It's a Yankees AA affiliate. It's only like 10 minutes. That's how we realized how close we all were. And he was like, yeah, and I was like, I feel like there's weirdness there. He was like, I don't know. Maybe not feeling it. Maybe he didn't want to hang out with me, which I don't know. I mean, I've never received text messages from Mayer saying, "Oh God, Joe wants to hang out. What do I do? How do I get out of this? What do I pretend? How much? Okay, give me some plans." Never happened, so don't worry about it. Oh, a good time, baby. I mean,
Fine.
Come on, let's go.
Whatever.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Mike Mayer saying, "I'm just going to sit behind Joe on the shelf with all the bobbleheads." yeah. I mean, man, it's a good spot to be. Also, want to remind everybody. Make sure you go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. Get that Shane Bieber jersey. Thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. All you got to do is go ahead, go to Apple Podcasts or CastBox, drop a review of the show, screenshot that, and don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros MLB. You get the 3X entry in there as well. Fill out the form at fantasypros.com/MLB contest, and that Shane Bieber jersey can be yours. Thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. So once again, go to fantasypros.com/chat to get involved in Discord. Sign up today so you can be there tomorrow, so you're not one of those last minute people. It's going to be very fun. I'm looking forward to the stages. I haven't done a stages yet. Dan's done a bunch of them. Yeah. Sometimes he gets up on stage and he does a little dance too. We'll see how the night goes. I'm excited about this. I'm excited to talk to all of you and see your beautiful faces. It's going to be a good time. Dan Harris, final thoughts.
Let's go, Alonzo. I don't have anything. There's no real baseball. I'm sad about Acuña. We've got a football podcast to do in like 10 minutes. I'm overloaded. I've got nothing.
All right. Well,
sorry.
That's okay. Hopefully you get this this break that Dan Harris needs clearly. So
very true.
In the meantime, the story of the game goes on. I'm Joey P. That, of course, is the tall drink of water, Dan Harris. We'll see you next time, kids.